Sad boys, sad boys, sad boys, sad boys,
From East Tennessee, this is the Sad Boys Podcast. And now, here's your hosts, Gabe and Parker.
Tell me how to start this shit. And then I'll roll with it.
Are you doing a weird South Park bit?
Yeah. Cotman. I think I've never watched that show in my
You've
life.
never seen South Park?
Not even once.
Oh, it's so fun.
They creep me out.
Why?
They
It's just like the animation style?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen one scene from the World of Warcraft episode.
Oh, I love that episode. That's one of my favorites.
And there was a character, I think, that was just pooping in a bucket.
Uh-huh.
It was just too
It's
gross
like
for
all
me.
over the place?
Yeah, it was just too much for me. I like my animation crisp and clean, like a Disney.
Like a Disney.
Like a Disney cartoon that's raunchy, like Big Mouth, or Bob's Burgers, or Family Guy, you know?
Big Mouth is pretty fucking gross.
I mean, it's gross, but it's not gross like poop gross. Poop gross is gross.
Rick shits all the time.
I don't watch Rick and Morty that much.
I'm talking about the shitty hormone monster.
Oh, well, he talks about pooping.
No, you definitely see him do it.
I've seen that series 3 times through, and I can't think of that time.
He does it.
What
It's
episode?
Like right whenever, spoiler alert, it's like right whenever Nick gets him. He shits himself. It like runs down his leg. It's real gross.
I don't remember that at all. What a weird way to start this episode talking about poop.
It's somber in this closet.
Yeah, it's a really dreary day out.
The atmosphere is low.
Yeah. This episode's going to be a rough one, people.
For me. And for you.
For me as well.
That's what I'm saying. For me and for you.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I don't know. I feel like a lot of our listeners, all 7 of you, are Marvel fans, and it's a rough day.
And we got to talk about it.
Yeah. So, Stan Lee passed away on Monday. And it's been a rough couple days, honestly. Yeah. Just sad.
I feel like this is one of the first, like, celebrity deaths that, like, kind of hit everyone.
Yeah.
Like, Mac Miller hit a lot of our generation. But this one is, like,
Multiple.
so many people.
Yeah.
And it's painful.
Yeah. I feel like he was to a level like America's great-grandfather.
Yeah.
You know? Because all of us, I mean, even if you're a casual Marvel movie watcher, you've seen him. And you probably asked your friends, like, who was that? And they were like, well, Stan Lee. You know, he created all these characters and had his hand in a lot of things. And it's just it's a sad day to talk about it, and it's okay, and I don't know.
But the internet has been showing him love.
Yeah.
Still, we're a couple days. We're recording this a couple days later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might cry this episode.
Well,
I am welling up.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not a super comedic episode, except for the poop talk at the beginning.
That wasn't even funny.
No, it's just gross. Yeah, there's just a weird vibe.
There's a weird vibe in this room right now.
It's because it's chilly.
Ooh.
It's gross out. It really is disgusting out.
It has been that way for a while.
I feel like somebody is taking a little squirt bottle, you know, and just misting. And then it's 40 degrees outside.
And it's just cold. I'm still shivering.
You're wearing your little snuggly, trying to
Oh, I
warm up.
love my little snuggly.
After this, I'm going to go
nice.
get some hot chocolate and
Ooh, that
bundle
sounds
up.
Nice.
Really does, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. All right, let's just get into the... See, because I feel in this, because, I mean, you guys know, because Gabe and I debated Marvel versus DC to a level, and I think at a certain level, I still am a DC boy, but they kind of almost go hand in hand if you're a comic book fan. I mean, you like certain characters, not the brand, itself. And, because I remember my first comic was a Marvel comic, that I ever read, front to back. And it's just sad.
Yeah, it was nice though because DC said stuff about him too.
Yeah.
I'm just not ready for the end of Avengers 4 now.
Yeah.
Because that'll fuck me up.
Yeah. Well, did you see that he had filmed his cameo?
Mm-hmm.
That is probably because I'm gonna go into that movie and cry anyways.
Yeah. So
just
it probably upped my crying from 3 to 5.
I would say I'm gonna be now at a 4 to 7. Yeah, was gonna be a 4. And then, but I've talked about this recently. I cried in a movie yesterday.
What movie?
Totally random, not Marvel at all. It was a Bollywood film. It's called PK.
Okay.
All right, and it's about this alien, and he comes to Earth. He lands in India, and he has his because they're humanoid. It was played by an actor, and there was no prosthetic. It was just a guy, and he had his little alien remote thing on his chest, and it's like a necklace, and somebody steals it off of him, and then it is a super it questions religion. It doesn't say that there isn't a god or anything like that, but it was established, institutionalized religion.
Yeah.
That was his big question of being an alien coming out from the outside looking in, and he falls in love with someone, and then she loved someone. It's rough. It's really rough. And at the end of the movie, I was very surprised. I was actually sitting by one of our buddies, Peyton, and he was, not really having this sort of emotional reaction.
Just weeping?
I wasn't weeping, but it was definitely it was hot tears.
Oh.
Hot tears right now. It was actually emotional. It was very sad because he loved her.
She loved another.
And she loved someone else, and it was the big undertone was because she was Indian and he was Pakistani, and apparently I don't really know very much about that.
Wait a second.
Sorry?
When you said alien, did you mean immigrant?
No, I meant an actual alien.
Okay, I was like, wait a second.
No, I know, it's a very weird, it is a
Okay.
very weird premise. But the guy that she loved was Pakistani, and she's Indian.
Okay, I got you now.
And he was an alien that loved it, and weird love triangle, but in the end, the alien guy helps her out with him, and it was hot darn. I don't know why it hit me so hard, but it hit me.
Okay.
No.
We'll talk about that on a later episode.
Yeah.
Today. Yeah, here's something I've been thinking about. So we know that we have the technology to where we can essentially put someone in a movie that is no longer with us. They did it in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll do it with Stanley?
I think that due to the nature of the narrative arc that's gone on in the Marvel Universe, for his last cameo...
Oh my god, is he gonna get... Oh wait, no, okay, never mind.
For his last cameo to be in the last of Phase 3... It's Phase 3 now, right? I think that would be the way to end his cameos.
Does the new cameos start happening?
Now, I would say they might do a picture of him, because in Deadpool 2, he was just on the side of the building and, didn't have a cameo, and that was very cool. Maybe something like that.
Okay.
But I don't think that they should touch CGI in regards to him.
That's what I've been thinking about. Because I think it would be kind of cool, but also I see that as like...
Yeah.
At that point, it's like, oh, we know it's not him.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes it a little... And it just makes it more special that, you know, he had already done the filming for this cameo, and whenever I see it, it's going to be very emotional.
It's going to be Tier City, USA.
Yeah. Population wet. I don't know. Because of the crying.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah.
But, yeah, I do want to tell a story.
Yeah,
I met him. It was very weird to watch the video, because I still have a video of me meeting him. Mm-hmm. And, so yeah, this is a super cool story. I think it just shows how kind even just the team around him was as well. So I went to this MegaCon. It's down in Orlando. And I was in my third year of high school, junior year. And I was so freaking pumped, because I'd been collecting comics for about 2 years at that point. And I had some really awesome stuff. But my first comic book that I remember owning, that I remember reading, was Secret Wars #1. Came out in like 1970-ish. I can't remember the exact year. I want to say maybe 78. But anyways, that was the first comic I ever read, and I found it was my dad's copy. And I knew I wanted him to sign that book, because I got the chance to, like, go to the con. Mm-hmm. But I went out and I found a nicer version of the book itself, like a better. And so we went and we waited in line from like 7:30. We were supposed to meet him at 8, and then we were going to go to the convention floor and walk around and do all that stuff. But even then, he was in his 90s, and so he didn't show up until about 12, and there was a panel that he was supposed to be on at 12. So he went to the panel and then came. So we had been there since 7:30.
Awful.
It was, but it was 100% worth the wait.
Yeah.
Have I told you this story before?
I don't think so.
So they come back in around 1. The panel was very short that he was on, and his team comes out, and they were like, "Hey guys, thanks so much for waiting. We're gonna do kind of a little trivia, competition to give you guys some extra like free signing things." And I was a junior and I was doing dual enrollment, so I had done it. I know it's a very long-winded story, but it's very cool.
No, you're good.
I had just done a public speaking presentation on Stan Lee, because I knew I was going to meet him, and I was like, oh, this will be fun. I care about this. So I did this speech on him. So I had all these like random talking points about Stan Lee. So the first question they asked was, what's his birthday? Mm-hmm. And I like popped off the answer really fast. I like raised my hand, and he called me, and I said the answer, and he was like, well, you're really young compared to all these like old guys. Yeah. Which is it was weirdly true. There was not very many kids that were in line to meet him. He was I think I was the youngest person within 100 people in front of me and behind me. And he was like, all right, we'll give you, okay, so if you can answer 2 more questions, I'll give you 4 more tickets to get stuff signed by him.
Holy shit.
So, I was like, no way. So the next question he asked me was, I think they asked me like what his real name was, which was Stanley Martin Lieber. And so I said it, and he was like, yeah, and then
they're like, why does this kid know so much?
Yeah, but then the last question I didn't know the answer to. They were like, what's the name of his wife?
Okay.
And I did just the presentation on him and, his like involvement with Marvel, and I didn't really look too much at personal life stuff. So I was like, dang it, I don't know it. But they weren't trying to give me the answer. Somebody like said it behind me. And I know that they weren't trying to give me the answer. But I said it, and he gave me. So I got. Oh my God. I got 5. I think it was 5 extra things, autograph tickets, because that's how they do it at conventions. You get a little ticket that gives you an autograph, and I was like, dang it, because the only comic book I had brought
was that
one, because I bought one and I didn't expect that to be a thing. So my dad rushes to the convention floor, and is like, he was calling, like he had me on the phone because the line still hadn't started. And so he was just like running around trying to like find